Damn. All right. So last week we your assignment was to do the checkpoints. All right. So of the when you looked at the checkpoints, my darlings, I said the checkpoints, the cool downs for math. But our cool downs again were you had one on effects of probability. Anybody need to see that? Because you didn't do it?
I was doing it while we was talking.
Okay. Well, just remember, the progress report closes. This first set closes. Your progress report closes on Friday. So I need you to get those cool downs done. Okay. And I want you to at least begin to look at the exercise sets because if you don't, because if you don't, you won't know what to do when we take the final. And remember, because I am away from you, you are going to be on time for the final. And they give you about 30 minutes, maybe 45. So again, make sure you have some paper and a pencil and practice, try to do the problems. I'm not saying that, I expect you all to be mathematicians, but I want you to try. Okay?
What's the finals?
So now, the final is going to be a test as usual. So here's what I want you all to do. I want you to leave me, go to Summit, and I want you to look at the exercise set. It is 10:48. It's only 3 problems. So I am going to give you until 11:05. So everybody. Okay. So again, go to Summit. Everybody has been assigned the exercise set. I want you to look at it. I'm going to give you 15 minutes. And then we're going to come back.
Is the first one B?
Is the first one B? I don't know. Why would you say that?
Mistakes.
Yes.
Because it looks like B.
Yes, it is. All right. So again, remember, when we talk about probability, right? The denominator of the probability is the number of possible choices. So for number 1, I hope everybody is there. For number 1, there are 6 sections, but there are 4 sections that are about the same size because they broke it into quarters. And then they broke that 1 quarter into eighths when they divided that one lower right into B and P. However, they are asking us about G. So the denominator would be 4 because there are 4 equal parts. And then there is only 1 opportunity of landing on G. See what I'm saying? That's why I said y'all could have done this at home. But now I'm going to give you till 11:05. So go ahead and do your thing. And we'll get back. Okay?
So what you want us to leave or?
I want you all to, you should have some paper. Remember, every time you come to class, bring some paper.
Some paper. I'm in bed. Like
I can't with y'all. Can you please just step away from the bed or put the night before class, put some paper next to your bed so that you will be able to write down some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting some paper now.
All right, cool. So everybody else, please make sure that you have some paper.
Like I just woke up. I had to go back to sleep.
You know what? I'm gonna need y'all. Y'all know it's class.
I woke up right before class. I woke up at like 10. I was like, "Ooh, let me join class."
The beauty is you can, like you said, you could just roll over and join the class. All right, flying from. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking loud. My daughter taking her final. Oops. Sorry. All right.
I have a question. When you think this coronavirus is gonna be over?
What?
This coronavirus pandemic.
It will. I think it's going to depend on once things start opening up. I think it's going to depend on how people start moving.
Yeah.
Because I think if a lot of people start moving, I think it's going to come back because again, people are walking around with no symptoms, but they're still able to pass on the they still able to pass on the virus. So I think that once we figure out how it's coming, like because right now, like the first cats have been diagnosed with corona. So
So imagine how many other kids got it.
if a cat can get corona,
They said the first person that actually had it. I mean, first thing that actually had it was an animal, and then a person got affected.
Yeah, a bat.
Yeah.
But now we talking about domestic animals now because again, well, we have bats, but we don't have bats like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, is all of this one?
All right, so is number 2 C?
Number 2 is C. I don't know. How'd you get that?
Because I divided 1,000 by 6.
Oh, does that make sense to everybody else? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So again, I say, how y'all play me and didn't do it. Now we got all this rap. We got all of this conversation, and y'all could have did it before. But yes, you are correct.
I'm looking at these questions for the first time. Like,
wow. Wow. All right, but that's cool. Again, if you look at the tapes, you will see that on the last slide, I normally put your assignment. So, again, I just want you all to check it out. So we're going to talk about it for those of you who I don't want that to fade in. What did that do? Oh, I can fade that in. I don't care. All right, sample space. All right, animation. And we're going to bring you in from the right. And we also going to bring you in from the right. All right. Got about 10 minutes. And then we're going to talk about it as a class.
I hope I'm getting these guesses right.
Yeah. Well, you did the first two. So that was cool. That was a good thing. And then the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Cool. Oh. All right. Go back up top where we were. We are here. And go here. Oh, present. Entire screen. Bam. Bam. Oh, we are. Here. Okay. All right, y'all know. All right, y'all ready? Everybody ready? I'm going to start. All right, so we're looking at exercise 1. We are going to review the exercise set each week because, again, you've got to practice the problems in order to do better. Now, some of them, common sense. I'm not going to hold you. Okay, but others you might have to work at. So here's the first problem. All right, so the problem 1 said, what is, oh, sorry, Dag, typo. I got to check that out. All right, what is, the probability of the spinner landing on the section labeled G? So, as Shire said, first you ask yourself, you know, math, I always tell you it's a conversation with yourself. So first you ask, how many sections are there in the circle? So there are 4. Remember, a probability will look like a fraction. Okay? So there are 4 sections. And then you ask yourself, how many of the sections are labeled G? Oh, come on, move out the way. Thanks. And there is 1 out of 4 sections. So the answer you should have gotten, I wrote number 2, but it's letter B. Anybody not understand that? Anybody need me to explain that again? Okay, so again, the denominator is always the number of possible outcomes. And the numerator is the desired result. So our desired result was G. There is only 1 of them, but there are 4 sections. We good? If I don't hear anything, I'm going to just move. Okay. Problem 2. This spinner is spun 1,000 times. Which of these is the best estimate for the number of times it will be expected to land on a section labeled B? All right, so again, you ask yourself, how many sections are there in the circle? So there are 6. Then how many are labeled B? 1. But again, so that means there is a 1 out of 6 chance that you will land on B. But now they said they did this 1,000 times. So the math problem, 1,000 times 1/6. Remember, at this stage of our game, because that 1,000 and that 1/6 in parentheses are close together, you should understand that they mean for you to multiply. So when we multiply, we ended with 1,000 over 6. Because remember, 1,000 is a whole number. It is in the numerator. When we do the division, we get 166 and then we will get a 6 repeating. So for our problem, you should have gotten the third one, or C, which is 160, because you had 16, 60, 160, and 600. So again, we are talking about an estimate. We do not have to get the exact answer, okay? But we somewhere in the ballpark. All right, now nobody answered 3. What's up? All right, so let's up. So the answer is 3, sorry. All right, so here we go. For number 3, we had to do a little extra. So remember, we talked about a sample space before, and we're going to do that a little more in depth today. But a sample space is the list of all possible outcomes of an event. So for us, On an assignment, there are 2 true or false questions. You have no idea what the correct answer is to either one, so you guess. So there's the sample space. Uh-oh, what did I do? Okay, there's the sample space. So first we figure out if we have 2 questions, we can they both can be right. The first one can be right, the second one could be wrong. The first one could be wrong, the second one could be right, or they both could be wrong. Those are the only possible outcomes for a 2-question true or false assignment. Okay? So the first question. Now, I put it in probability format. What is the probability that you will guess both of them right? So your event would be right. The first one is right and the second one is right. So again, remember, the denominator tells you the number of possible outcomes, and the numerator tells you the possibility that this thing right here is happening. So what you got, somebody?
You said right?
Yes. What's the probability?
If you getting right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
How many right?
You can get wrong, right? You can get right, wrong.
Well, if you look at the screen, it's telling you all of the possible outcomes. So these are the possible outcomes. So how many of them have this form?
What possible outcomes? Is on your screen?
It should be on your screen. You can't see it?
No, all I see is the
I said share. Let me try it again. I said share my screen.
I'm looking at my screen.
Oh no, switch to my looking at your screen. That's fine. We on 3.
Yeah. Don't give me that right, John.
All right, so switch back to our presentation. Switch back to the class. All right, everybody switch back to the class. All right, so again, now can you see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the possible outcomes. Okay.
Right, 1 out of 4.
Absolutely.
I got
there are 4 possible outcomes. That's the denominator. And then there is only one situation where you will guess both of them correctly. And your explanation would be just that. There are 4 possible outcomes, but only one fits the event. And remember, the event is that you will guess both of the questions correctly. Anybody who wasn't here last week or didn't look at the film from last week, probability, this is the form. So this P means the probability of. This is the event. So this part is red.
Can you say that one more time? You like there are 4 possible outcomes.
There are 4 possible outcomes, but there is only one where this event is true. There's only one. Okay, so that would be your explanation. There are 4 possible outcomes, excuse me. But there is only one.
That was A, right?
Yep.
All right.
All right, ready for the second one?
Yeah.
All right, the second one is, what is the probability that you will get exactly one of the guesses right? So that means we want the probability that it equals 1 correct. So what you got? Again, how many possible choices? Possible outcomes? 4. But how many of them have one right answer?
I have one right answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guess.
Only one of them is right.
There still should be 1 out of 4.
Why?
Right?
Nope. One right answer. That has 2 right answers. We only need 1. So how many of the sample of the possible outcomes, how many of them have only one right answer?
2 out of 4.
Absolutely, loving up on you. And then we reduce that to 2/4. Reduce.
1/2.
All day. Bam. Absolutely. So again, this one we can't count because it has 2 right answers. The question says has exactly 1 right answer. Oh, sorry. Has exactly 1 right answer. So we only have this one or that one. We can't count this one. It says exactly 1 right. So we have this one and this one. So, yep. And you remember at all times you have to reduce. So we will reduce that to 1/2. So did that make sense? Those problems 1 through 3? Anybody got a question? Anybody need to see them over again?
What was the explanation again?
The explanation is there are 4 possible outcomes, but there are 2 that have exactly 1 right answer. Okay? There are 4 possible outcomes, but 2 have exactly or only 1 right answer. Okay, so again, remember this class is always going to ask you justify. How do you know? Why? Explain. Okay, so we are going to get in the habit of doing that.
I don't even say I can send this junk to you. I don't say request feedback or nothing.
No, what you would do is
Copy and paste and send it to you as email.
No. When you fill it out, I will see your answers. So you just filled yours out, Mir?
Yeah, I did it all day.
Okay. All right, so let me show you this. I am going to go to, wait a minute, I'm going here. I'm going here. Oh, that was this one. Thanks, Mr. Gambrell. All right, so now if I go down to Amir, let me do this. You will see what I see. Wait a minute.
I don't even see my name.
Wait a minute, because you're down the bottom.
I don't think I'm supposed to be in this class. I'm out.
Whatever. Well, I came from the top. All right, so bam. See now. See how I see Amir is currently editing, right?
Nah, I ain't doing nothing.
All right, well, you must have been in it. But you see how you all can see Amir highlighted for that one. He highlighted that one. Okay, so for me, I then have on my bar, I will click him complete and send it back to him. So Amir, if you look at your year view, you will see on your, you know how it tells you what's happening in your weekly view. You will see that you have completed that assignment. Okay, so again, everybody who is in the class, I'm going to go back and look at your paper and it better be complete or I'm going to be on your top. Okay, because we just did it together. But again, in the future, ladies and gentlemen, I check it the morning of the class. So you have until about 9:30 a.m. to get it done. Okay, that also includes the cool downs. Because if you look at the cool downs, anybody, you may have done it but not submitted it to me. I can't see it. Okay, so
Miss
again,
Hicks, you gotta send me the link to the work.
That's leak.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
no, Malik, if you go to your summit for this class, it's under there. I
It's in there?
signed it already.
Oh, I didn't know it was in there.
Yes. So last week's assignments are in. So again, that was the cool down and the cool down and the somebody just joined.
I don't know. Somebody said Europe, so we say
Oh.
Europe back.
You're so silly.
My bad.
Y'all are funny. All right, so we got this one, and again, everybody submit. Okay, and again, you're in your explanations, you must say something about there are 4 possible outcomes, and then talk about how many of them fit the event that we're talking about. And again, in this one, the event is they are both correct, and in this one, it only one is correct. Okay, which is why we couldn't count the one that we counted in number 1. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now we're going to do sample spaces a little more. All right, so a sample space is the number of possible outcomes of an event. So here is the warm-up. I typed the warm-up so that we don't have to be flipping back and forth. So the warm-up says, when rolling 2 standard number cubes, so that's rolling a die or rolling dice. So now you're shooting dice. You have 2. What one of the possible outcomes is 1 and 1. They want to know what are the other possible outcomes. So
what you want now?
Can you see my screen?
Hold on, let me go to your screen. The warm up. Which one is that?
This is the warm up for today. It's the 3rd one. You don't see it because normally I would have printed it for you, because in math we print stuff. Ouch. In math they expect us to print, but since
so it's not on Summit.
It's on Summit, but you can't see it because normally, remember, I give you the warm up in your hand.
Right.
So I just typed it here.
So we're going to
do it together.
And that's going to be like that. And that's going to count.
You don't have to do the warm ups. You have to do the cool down.
Oh, I'm tripping.
It's okay. All right. So, again, all possible outcomes. You are rolling 2 die. So on the first die, what is the possibility? The first time you roll it, what's the possibility? A 1. They said one of the possible outcomes is a 1 and a 1. Okay. First die hits 1. Second die hits 1. You roll them again. The first die hits 1, but the second one comes up 2. You roll them again. The first one comes up 1. The second one comes up 3.
I thought you was talking about shooting dice, Miss Hicks.
It is. But see now, if we were in school, we would do the experiment where we shoot dice and tell me what is the total number? We would talk about that, but we're going to have to improvise here. All right. So the first question asks, what are the other possible outcomes? So look at this. Those are all of the possible outcomes. So this is the one they gave us.
Miss Hicks.
Yes, baby.
It's the way on the computer where you can roll a dice.
I know that's going to be that's next. I got it. That's one of your problems, I believe. All right. So again, so here are all of the possible outcomes. Okay, so there are a lot. There are 36 possible outcomes. when you roll 2 die. So again, first one is a 1, the second one is a 2. But then mute person, thank you. Then here, the first one stays 1, but the second one changes. Then it changes again. Then the second one changes again, and again. Then we roll. Now we get in 2s first. But then the second one could be a 1, or the second one could be a 2. The second one could be a 3, 4, or 5, or 6. Okay? So these are all of the possible outcomes. And to answer the second question, how many outcomes are in the sample space? There are 36. Okay? Because, again, every die can take on every number. So the first number will be what came out with the first die. The second number is what came out on the second die. So as the first one changes, the second one could stay the same. Or as the first one stays the same, the second one changes. It doesn't matter how you list them. I just thought this made more sense. The first one is a 1, then the change for the second. The second one, the next time, the first one is a 2, the second one changes. Everybody understand what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody not understand what happened there?
Not really, because I just came in.
Oh, okay. Hi. Okay, so this is the warm-up for today. And this is the situation. The event is we are rolling 2 standard number cubes. Number cubes, dice, same thing. And it tells us one of the possible outcomes is 1 and 1. So that's here. The question asked us, what are the other possible outcomes? So I was just explaining if the first die stays the same, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We have the possibility of the second one taking on the numbers 1 through 6. So we roll the first time, we get this. We roll the second time, the first one still comes up 1, but the second one comes up 2. We roll it again. This is that situation. And then when we roll that 7th time, 2 comes up first, but then the second die changes.
Okay.
Okay? So these are all of the possible outcomes for rolling 2 die. And then the second question just asks, how many outcomes are there? And you know, it's 6 down and 6 across. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So now, this again, this was the practice, but because I can't give it to you on paper, we're going to do it together. Okay? All right, so the first one. A standard number cube is rolled. So how many possible outcomes is there from a cube? How many sides?
4.
Cube. Don't forget the top and bottom.
Like 8 or still like 16, something like that.
No.
6.
Yes, I was gonna say start with your 4. You went outside. You forgot top and bottom. So yes. So it is a possibility that when a cube is rolled, you have 6 possible choices. When a coin is flipped, how many choices do you have?
2.
2. All right, so that means we are going to be combining numbers 1 through 6 with the 2 possible outcomes of a coin, heads or tails. So look, the sample outcome, we can roll a 1 on the die and our coin comes up heads. We can roll a 1 on the cube and the coin could come up tails. We move. Oh, all right. Then the cube, we roll it. The cube, the die, because that's 1. The die comes up 2, but the coin could come up heads or tails.
Mm-hmm.
The die could come up 3, but the coin can come up heads or tails. The same with 4, heads or tails. 5, heads or tails. 6, heads or tails. So that would be the sample space. Those are all of the possible outcomes if this is the event. Okay? Make sense? Anybody not with me? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Okay, cool. All right. So now, if we flip 4 coins, whoo, that's a whole lot. All right. So now, when we flip a coin, how many choices do we have? What is the sample? What are the possible outcomes?
Heads or tails?
Heads or tails. But we have 4 coins. So how many possible outcomes do we have? How many possible outcomes for the first coin?
2, 4, 6, 8. So 4 heads and 4 tails.
All right, but you in probability you would multiply. So how many answers you gonna get?
8.
I said multiply, love. You added. Multiply them.
4
Times.
4 times 8 different outcomes.
No. On the first coin, you can get what? A heads or a tails.
2 outcomes.
Times on the second coin, you can get heads or tails. The third coin, you could get heads or tails. The fourth coin, you can get heads or tails. Multiply them. Don't add them. Multiply them. So what's 2 times 2?
4.
Times 2?
8.
Times 2?
16.
16. So there are 16 possible outcomes. The sample space here has 16 elements or 16 members. So bam. Oh. That's the first one. Bam. Now, look at this. So these are all of the possible outcomes. So first we have everybody came up heads. But then these 3, you got 3 heads, 1 tail on the end, on the fourth. You got 3 heads, 1 tail on the third coin. And then you have 3 heads and 1 tail on the second coin. So that's one, that's 4. Then here, it can rotate. Heads, tails. So here, you have these 3. You have 2 heads and 2 tails. So head, tails, 2 heads, 2 tails, heads on the outside, tails in the middle. Okay? So again, anybody who want to write this down, please do. Because for your cool down, you are probably going to do sample space. Okay?
Or so what should we write down?
So you're going to write down this sample space. And then 1. Write down this.
Mm-hmm.
And then this.
So
sample.
I don't got to write down a sentence.
Yeah, I said write down sample space, then this statement so that you know what the answers relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you all a couple minutes. I need to get some water to copy that down so that you'll have a point of reference.
Yeah.
Okay. Move, Daisy. Oh, dang.
Yo, he drawn. Hey,
All right.
I know I'm not the only one who heard that.
Y'all here. Y'all better stop being bad.
That's tough.
All right, anybody new join the class? Again, I have Amir, Shair, Nasir, Daquan, Darian, Danira, Waddell, Malik, Faye, and Nashe. Did I miss anybody? All right, because y'all know I got to take roll, and I got to take roll for school as well as for the school district because they are watching. So please inform your friends.
What?
Please inform your friends that they need to join the class.
Well, somebody know she playing.
Yeah, she can graduate. She better stay home.
Yeah, like she's doing it.
Yeah, she tried it. Daisy, get away. I'm working with two screens here. Okay, we did that. Oh yeah, that's not bad. Y'all just have one cool down. Oh, that's pretty cool. So everybody else can catch up because it's no exercise set with Ooh,
Who getting murdered? Yeah,
I know that I was thinking the same thing. I just didn't want to say it. Like, oh, somebody getting it. All right, we finished with these.
No, 1 second.
Okay, I'll
I'm
take
probably the only one writing it down. But 1 second.
Amir writing it down too. That's why he keeps saying, "Wait a minute, hold up."
You can just take a picture.
Miss Six, where we supposed to be writing this?
All right, now I said in the beginning to get some paper. However, I am also going to post this recording of this class. So anybody who missed it or who didn't get something, you can always go back and listen to it. And and take your time going through it. So that will also be an option. Always bring paper and something to write with. Because I'm going to have you try this problem. We'll do this. What did you get for that? All right, I have 11:29. So at 11:32, can we move to the other two? Because again, I just want to make sure that you all have a pretty good idea so that you can do the cool down.
I have a question. What's that you want me to do?
Algebra 2, math-wise, algebra.
Yeah. Algebra 2?
Yes.
I already finished that, so what's after that?
Okay. So you might not, you might be done, math.
Okay.
But you are required to do Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. But you also have to take a math elective.
Why?
Because the school district requires, because we moving into that STEM generation. So you either have to take an advanced math class or an advanced science class.
So is advanced science like biology?
No, advanced science would be like physics or something like that. Biology is a required.
Okay.
Miss Hicks, I told you I've been done.
Oh, everybody ready to move?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
Okay. I love y'all. Oh. All right, so I'm going to take a step back. All right, so now, if two spinners, no, I can't do that one. Let's go to 4, because number 3, we don't, number 3, I don't have
example
the spinners. So, all right, so I'm going to switch to just a regular standard piece of paper so we can do this together. All right, so the last problem. I'm going to just go to a standard document. Damn.
Bro, this joint on mute.
Stop, Daisy. Get down.
What Daisy a cat?
Yeah, driving me nuts. She keep trying to get in the chair with me. It's like, get out of the way, Daisy. All right. Where is my plus to add a new page? All right. So, ladies and gents, where is my plus, y'all? Okay, there it is. Come on, you loser. Okay. All right. And this is let's see. Five. Wait a minute. Let me go back for a second. See if I can transfer this. Yes. All right. So here's the question. A class block is chosen from 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Then a subject is chosen. So what does the sample space look like? So we have blocks, and then we have courses, right? So what's our choice of blocks?
1 through 5.
1 through 5, absolutely. So our blocks, so first block, and then it said choose a course. So what can the course be?
English.
Okay. But block 1 can also be
Math.
yes. All right. Now we have block 2. It can be
English.
or
Math.
yep. So you see what I'm saying? These are all of the possible outcomes of our event. All right. And so then we have the same thing. Third period, third block, we could have English. Or third block, we can have math. Same for fourth block. And fifth block. Hey, little person. All right. So you see that this sample space is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's 10 possible outcomes if this is our situation. Okay? Because then you can build some other questions.
Let me tell my little siblings to be quiet.
Probability of English, right? So when they ask us the probability of English, they don't care about the block. So what's the possible, again, how many of them are English?
Five.
How many?
5.
5, that's right. 5 of them are English. Out of how many choices? How many possible outcomes do we have?
5.
Total, all possible outcomes.
10.
10. And we would reduce that to, how would that reduce?
5 through 10 too, right?
Reduce
That'll be 1, 2, right?
1 who?
1 half.
Thank you. I heard you say 1, 2. Yes. Okay. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool.
5 is 10.
All right. So now, all right, here's the last one. We're doing pretty good, y'all. So the
Possibility of math is 5 out of 10.
exactly. Yes. The probability of math. Oh, I wrote F. The probability of math, yes, would be the exact same thing. It would be 5 out of 10 or
1/2.
1/2. Exactly. I love them. Okay, but now here's one that's a little different. All right, what is the probability of second block English?
1 in
Mm-hmm.
1 in 5.
That's right. 1 to 10. Absolutely. So it's 1 out of 10. It is
No, I
only,
get it. I say 1 in 8.
this is the only possibility
Oh, yeah.
that has second block English.
Because
Okay.
they only asking about a block.
Say it.
Because they only asking about the block.
That's right. They only asking about the block, whereas in these two, they were asking about the subject. Okay, makes sense, y'all?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good money. Okay, so here is your assignment, y'all, and then we finish for the day. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, so boom. All right, so here's your assignment. It is due next Monday, the 4th. It is cool down number 3, and the name of it is Sample Space of Sample Space. This, pay attention, progress reports close on Friday the 1st. So that means I will definitely be looking for the things that were assigned last week. If you do this, it can only work to your favor. But again, your class is Monday. Okay? But like I said, it can't hurt you to do it early. But definitely cool downs 1 and 2. If they are not done, you will not get a passing passing on your progress report. So write it down, take the picture, snapshot, or whatever you need to do to make it happen. Okay, now again, like I said, I remember some of you said you were getting together last week to do the first 2 cool downs. I'm looking for them, good people. Okay.
So how we look back at the
Class over, miss?
Yep.
Or the
Wait a minute. Wait, Nas. Hold your thought, because somebody might have their question might be yours. What you say, Nara?
so how we look at the recording when it's over?
I send you a link.
Okay.
I send you a link. I give it to Raj. Raj does something to it. I send it to the entire class. So look for it after our office hours. So look for it around 3. Okay. But it will be posted. And like I said, I will send it to all of you, because those of you who weren't in class last week, go back to your Yes Philly email and look for an email from me from April the 20th. And it should be a link to a video. And the video is on Yes Philly YouTube. So it's not garbage. That's actually the lesson. Okay? Everybody good?
Wait, I have a question. So Mr. V told me that he said that we can make up term 3 work.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still possible?
It was due by the 19th, but if you talk to your teachers, I'm sure that they will allow you to do it. So just do it and submit it.
Okay.
Okay? And that goes for all of you. Anybody who missed something in the third term, contact your teachers, see what was due, and have it done. Remember, anything that was due before March the 13th, that's what's due, because March the 13th was our last day of school. So any cool downs or checkpoints that were due before March the 13th, they are due, and that is how you will get your third term
I feel
grade.
like we should be doing that for like the rest of this term too. Like we should be able to make up work from term 3.
Well, but for some people that might work, but Shair, for some people that's just gonna get them confused, you know. But again, do all term 3 stuff. Do that in conjunction with, if you are one of those people who need to do some term 3 stuff. Okay, do them simultaneously, but definitely make sure that they are done, because when the school district allows us to enter a grade, you won't be able to submit it anymore. And because what's working in your favor right now is the school district hasn't given us the guidelines, so to speak, on what to do for that third term, because it got cut in the middle.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do that so I can still graduate on time. I thought I wasn't going to be able to graduate.
No, you can make it up. All right. I am going to. All
Where
right.
that cool down at on Summit?
Yes. Everything is on Summit. And if you go to Summit, look under your name. You should have the 2 activities under there. Okay.
I don't got the cool down 3.
Okay. Well, cool down 3, I will upload now. I just since I just introduced it. Okay.
All right.
But I'll do it right now when I hang up.